down to the, where the hell? One of them donation joints. So the first thing you got to do is you got to find yourself, after you got your bag full of clothing that you're no longer keeping, you find yourself a clothing bank, and then you just drop in there and drop off your clothing bank stuff. And that's it. You dropped all your kit off, no problem. Good people will be able to use that kit now. Nothing is wasted. Perfect. So, in order to take care of your shoes, you have to build yourself a shoe cleaning, shoe maintenance kit. Now this is something that any soldier around the world will have. This is kind of a combination kit. I've just got this in a high-tech Magnum box, but I'm probably going to wind up going in an ammo can. The covers come off. This will wind up becoming my shoe shine kit. Transferring across, you keep old Kiwi cloths. Now, Kiwi cloths, this is a Kiwi cloth. Kiwi, these guys here, have been making shoe polish since the dawn of time, okay? Seriously, these guys have an autographed copy of the fucking Bible. You want to always have a couple of brand new Kiwi cloths in your shoe shine kit. There are people who make cloths that are like Kiwi cloths. It's the same thing. No, they're not. They have to be Kiwi cloths. I don't know why that is. I've tried other brands that are cheaper. It doesn't work. You're going to need to get yourself an old toothbrush. You need an applicator brush. You want to have a boot brush. Your leather care kit should have some saddle soap. To look after the leather, you should use saddle soap, and this is when your leather gets really shit-kicked. When you've taken all the finish off of it, you want to go put some saddle soap on it to kind of restore it. Of course, now it has to be Kiwi brand shoe polish. If it is not Kiwi shoe polish, throw it away. It's crap, okay? First of all, you need a glass jar that's clean. So let's just head over to the kitchen and we'll check that out now. The first thing you want to get your hands on is a glass, probably a salsa jar. It's good, and this is where you keep your water. When you're doing your boots, you need water, and it has to be really cold water. This is the way that I was taught in the Canadian Forces to do it, and this is probably the oldest, most reliable way. Canada learned to do this from England, and God knows where England learned to do it. You want to get as cold water as you possibly can. So you get yourself a glass jar, make sure it's clean. Get it clean, clean, clean. Super clean, drinkable, ice cold water. Now, when you're working, the first thing that's going to happen is your boots, these boots look like hell. I'm going to show you what you're going to need to do. You're going to need to take your laces out of your boots. Next thing you need to do is you got to get the mud off the boot. You're not going to be able to care for nothing with all the shit on the boot. Get yourself a high-speed jet hose. Blast most of the dirt off that you can. You want to make sure you get all the mud off, because mud is nothing more than small, tiny particulates. So you want to rub it. You actually got to get in there with a cloth and get this as clean as you can. Some people use an old boot brush. You can do this in a bathtub or wherever. Get it on there. Get all the crap off the boot. Vibram soles, oil-proof, slick-proof soles. Give her a quick wipe. Doesn't take too long. That's pretty much good. That's only about as clean as it needs to be. Now, before you get started, get yourself some propaganda, lay it out here on the floor. Take your boots, your towel. You want to make sure you get most of the excess moisture off. It's a good deal to make sure they're totally dry, but if you haven't got the time and you haven't washed them off before you came in the house like you were supposed to, get them to a reasonably dry state. Usually, most Kiwi, when you're putting on your base coat, your average can of Kiwi polish looks like this. Very, very hard. Kiwi polish is made of like a dye, the actual stuff they use to treat the boot, the actual polish material itself, and alcohol. There's alcohol inside of this. Alcohol is flammable. Now, alcohol also evaporates. So what we're going to do is you need your lighter to apply your base coat. See, since there's so much alcohol in the Kiwi polish, you have to light it on fire. This will burn quite readily. The alcohol catches and begins to go. Okay, now you're going to let that fire spread, and what it's doing is the alcohol will burn and cause the polish to go to a very, very liquid format. While that's getting ready to go, you grab out your application brush. Keep this thing handy, okay? Now you want to be careful. This is alcohol. It's a very dangerous thing to do. Your smoke alarm's going to go off. When you're ready to put it out, you just cut off the air supply as such. You pick up your boot, your applicator brush, dip it in there while it's still liquid real fast, smear it on the boot. All up in here. Make sure, this is why the laces have to be gone. This is an integral part of your boot. Put it around the sides. You got to go fast. Otherwise it gets back to a solid state and you won't get the absorbency. The hot alcohol and the wax suck it into the boot. Now you'll notice that with the boot, okay, so we got the base, you got to leave it for a little bit. When you're done, seal this back up. Now your hands are going to get dirty while you do this. That's okay. It shows you're honest in your work. Use your old Kiwi cloth as your rag. If you start using your towel as your rag for your shoes, your wife will fucking kill you. As this cools, more alcohol leaves, and as the alcohol leaves, it creates a protective layer on the boot. This is what the purpose of polish is. You let it dry. let it dry, no problems. Next, out of the boat, take one of these. This is a boot brush. You take the boot brush and you simply go over the boot just to get the excess off. We're not going whole hog on it here. We're just getting the excess off. Next stage, after you've got the polish on that, you want to make sure you do inside the welts. Take out this is your secondary coat of polish, okay? We're still on the secondary. Take your toothbrush, put it in there. You got to get in the welts. The welts are the spaces of the shoes. This is where the actual stitching of the boot is. Got to get the welts done. After, again, you put on raw polish with a brush. Now use the big brush again to smooth it out. Make sure, again, get up on the inside. This area here is the most forgotten part. It's where the most of the wear comes on the boot. If you were to do this once a week, your boots would last you 10 years. Well, but wait, Sean, the insoles would wear out in 10 years. Well, when you're dealing with high-quality boots, you don't throw away the boot. You keep the boot, and you pay $40 to get a new insole put on. As these insoles wear down, this whole piece here pops off. There's a padding layer that goes in. You take it to a tailor, these people who have existed for hundreds of years, and you get them to put on a new sole. $30 later, you're back to a brand new boot. No more disposable society. Look at that. Oh, muffin. The boots, at this stage, you continue to brush them until they're at a stage where you're happy with and you're like, okay, now the boot is good. And you're able to look at the whole thing, it's clean, you've got the polish all done, you get inside the welts. Now it's just a matter of doing this until it appears dry. Whenever you take your laces out of your boots, you put the lace inside the boot that it belongs to. What lacing is lacing is supposed to be a way for you to tie up your boots so that they're effective. The lacing system that I use is a sport lacing system, which is designed in case you need to get the boot off and you do not wish to damage the boot. You can cut the boot off. It's a little bit tricky, so you got to pay attention on me here. The first one goes over the top, then it comes underneath, and it goes up and over. Okay? So anytime that you're going up, you always are going on an angle in the same direction. If you want to be totally tricky about it, you can make sure that that your lace is kept flat. Okay, after you get that one done, the next one you come underneath. You come underneath on this one, and then you go underneath again over here. Yeah, this is where it gets a little tricky. The goal here, the reason why you have to do that is because you do all the laces wind up kind of going up in the same direction. Okay, and it gives an effect that your boots have stripes. Okay, so this is how your boots look when they're all laced up. You use conflicting lines going on the upside so you get kind of a sergeant stripe effect, okay? The reason for this is because if ever you need to get your boots off in a hurry, if you were to damage your boot anyway, they got to get that boot off. Rather than cutting everything in the field, you take your knife, you run your knife up over the tops of the laces like this. All the laces are cut. You can peel the boot back without a problem. That is what it does. This is why you lace it this way. Okay? Well, how do you tie your boots? Answer, you don't. You do what's called captain bars. This is the way captain bars look. They're simply, you take the two ends of the boots, after you've laced it up, you tighten everything by pulling on these. You get it all nice and tight and snug. Not super tight. Your boot's got to be able just snug. You take the top of each one, you throw it through each eyelet. One over like this, back over across to the other eyelet. While you've got your boots, you're there, you snug it up tight around your foot, and then you tuck these down inside the boot, so your laces are not flopping around. Nothing's worse than a boot with combat laces. That's why you never see Spec Ops. You can never even see their laces, because they do captain's bars. As your boot flexes, these will loosen, and it will loosen your boot to the perfect snug fit. You do not tie your boot. If you're finding that this does not work because of the type of boot you have, then you tie it. But when you tie it, you make sure you tuck the knot in. Now I'm going to do the same thing again to these really shit-kicked old Garrison boots you can probably find in a thrift store. Okay, see, take a good look at those toes. Right in close on the toes, eh? Yeah, look at them. That's how they work. Okay, now I'm going to just get these boots to where those boots were at. If I was to assign a formal log boot, which I think is the best looking combat boot, it is a Garrison style boot. Okay, these are Garrison.